Hi everyone, welcome back on Study Room. So in this video, we will learn about seasons. We have learned about these terms: jet sprays, high pressure, low pressure. So we are all aware of these geographical terms. But now how these terms and how these conditions affect India, we will study that in the seasons part. Majorly, India has broadly four seasons that in detail we are going to study, and with the reason as well. Okay, so very first is cold weather season, which we normally call as winter season. So we all aware of this thing that in day the days are warmer in winter season, and nights are colder. Okay, so what is the reason of days being warmer and nights being colder? We'll understand that. So first, let's talk about the average temperature. The average temperature in coastal areas are normally 24 to 25 degrees Celsius, which means the winters are not much affected there, and it is in 10 degree to 15 degree Celsius in northern plains. Okay, and the winds that trade are northeastern. So we get yes, so we get winds from northeastern side. Okay, which means this from this side where we get winds. Okay, now first understand why and what happens basically in winter. Okay, so this is a sea and this is land. So winters normally the winds blow from land to sea. Okay, so they blow from land to sea. We're talking about winds here. That is why. Okay, so in this case, the from land from north, the winds are going downwards. Okay, so that is why the area or the country or the region at the time of cold weather is known as dry season. Okay, dry season. In some areas, we experience snowfall, mostly in the northeastern plains or in the mountainous region. In the Himalayan region, we experience snowfall at that these areas because they are dry, a part of dry winds. Okay, now let's understand where does this winds come from. Now, one very important factor to note here is that by this time, by the time when there are winters, it rain a little in the southern region in Tamil Nadu. Okay, and the reason for this is because of the reversal of wind. So in this area, the winds are having reverse direction and they're blowing into a reverse direction. Okay, so now we get winds from the northeastern side. Okay, northeastern side. So here from Himalaya, so the wind which are coming, they are light wind, which leads to clear sky, low in temperature, and just now summer and monsoon has been ended. When cold starts, for example, like currently monsoon are always on verge of ending and winters are about to start. Okay, so when there is this situation, the humidity gets low and there are variable of winds which are flowing in other direction. So basically northern region are basically have a high pressure. Okay, now one more major changes that happen in cold weather is that this is Mediterranean Sea. So now Mediterranean Sea, we know how contrast we play with. It's whenever there will be high pressure in Mediterranean Sea or in Pacific Ocean, there will be a contrast action. Okay, so in Mediterranean Sea there gets little disturbance of cyclone. So we observe cyclonic disturbance around October in these region, which leads to ultimately due to the jet stream that we have. Okay, so this leads to somewhere disturbance in this part. So this cause precipitation in the northern Himalayan region. Okay, so it rains in the winter. Yes, so just not very much, but small amount of rains, which we called as Mahavat, they are caused by cyclonic disturbance, and these are Mahavat are very important for Rabi crop. Okay, These are very important for winter crop. The festival is also being celebrated. Okay, so this is about the cold weather season. Now we'll understand our hot weather season, summer. So again, it record highest temperature, which ranges between 38 degrees Celsius in the Deccan Plateau, means in the Deccan areas, and 45 degrees Celsius in the northwestern India. Okay, now let's understand its concept as well through diagram. Now, sun's direct Yes, now sun's direct rays are fallen into equator by March. Okay, as the Earth rotates, these movements or these high pressure and low pressure belts also moved. Okay, so by June, in Tropic of Cancer face direct sun rays. Okay, by June. Okay, which leads to building low pressure. Okay, which leads to building low pressure in India, because we are around Tropic of Cancer, right? So it moved towards upwards. Now what happened in India is, in the western in the western, northwestern, northeastern, some of the northeastern areas and the central areas, for example, Thar Desert, Patna, and Chota Nagpur region. These region faces a lot of high pressure. Now what happened during that time is, a kind of wind that blows in this area are very dusty and very dry wind. We call them as Lu. Okay, so Lu, they are commonly in north eastern and northwestern India. Okay, they are commonly found in northeastern and northwestern India. So Lu is very harmful. If you are exposed to Lu for a longer time, it might also lead to death. So this kind of wind or blow of air is very harmful during this season. Now, this region is near the sea. Okay, so at that time, what is happening in the sea? It's generating the high pressure, and here we have low pressure. So it generates high pressure, due to which at that time we observe precipitation or rainfall in the Bengal region, and we call it as Kal Baisakhi. Something similar happens in Tamil Nadu and Kerala in northern side as well. Okay, so what this is due to the intermixing of low pressure and high pressure. It always leads to precipitation. Something like similar happens in Kerala and Tamil as well. Now you all must be wondering what kind of rain it is. It is so abrupt. How can it be helpful? But in areas of Karnataka and Kerala where this happens, these rains are basically called mango showers, because these are very helpful for cultivation of these area at that particular time. Okay, so basically these mango showers come at a point, showers at a point where there was a need of water the most. Okay, so that's why they are called mango showers. Our next season is advancing monsoon, or we call it rainy season. So what happened? So this particular times come during around June. Okay, so by the time of June, there are even more low pressure in the centric area. Okay, in the north to western area, same region, Chota Nagpur region, Patna. Okay, so here now it has extreme low pressure, and what else is happening, that by that time from equator these winds are also coming. So this low pressure is so powerful that it attracts the high pressure winds coming from equator. Now due to Coriolis force, these winds change their direction and enters in India through southern west region. Okay, so they enters through southern west. That's why they are known as southwest monsoon. Okay, now what happens as soon as they enter in India, due to the low pressure, they now the winds that are coming from equator, remember two things: they are very very warm and very very moisturous. Okay, so that is why as soon as they enter in India, they give heavy shower rain. Okay, that is also called burst of rain. So they give proper heavy shower of rain in the western coast, okay, in the peninsular area. So these winds are basically, they are trading towards southeast direction. Okay, um, let me repeat once again. So it's very simple. There are winds which are trading towards southeast, okay, and they change their direction and enter the peninsula. They change their direction due to the Coriolis force that we have studied, okay, and enter in India as southwest monsoon. Okay, now this monsoon is known for its unpredictability, because you cannot never measure at what force and at what quantity these winds are coming. Okay, now another very interesting facts about these winds are, so they are coming towards from the southward direction, right? Now they are coming towards they're entering through a peninsular. Okay, so whenever they are coming towards peninsular, they mostly divide into two parts. Okay, one is Bay of Bengal branch and second is Arabian Sea branch. So Arabian Sea branch reaches from Run of Kutch to Gujarat, and this Bay of Bengal reaches to Himalayan region in the eastern side. Okay, so what happened due to Himalayas, they take a U-turn, they take the turn and move in the centric direction. Okay, and similarly the winds which are coming from Arabian branch takes the turn and move. So by the end of you can say September, these all winds which are coming from both the ends precipitate in this middle region, and this is the part where in Delhi and in central areas they are heavy. We experience very heavy rainfall. Now these winds from there move towards Punjab and Himachal, and you can say by mid-July the monsoon has traveled all of the country, and all of the country is experiencing monsoon by that time. Okay, another interesting thing is, when in Western Ghat, when there is heavy precipitation, heavy rainfall which is happening, we observe that in this area, okay, we see in this area we observe that the rainfall is very less. Why is that so? Now we'll go back and study remember our concept of rain shadow area. This is a rain shadow area. That is why this area is heavily loaded with rain, and in this area they are they are basically rain shadow area, so they do not have rain. Now next next point is unpredictability. We'll talk about unpredictability. It basically breaks that the monsoon take. Now this is because of only sole reason is low pressure. Okay, okay, I'm sorry for the handwriting. Okay, so low pressure is basically, now we know that around this area we experience the low pressure belt. Okay, this low pressure belt keeps moving. Sometimes it's go up, sometimes it's go down. Okay, so whenever this low pressure belt reaches in the northern mountainous region, means the Himalayas, so the plain do not experience the monsoon. Okay, so whenever these low pressure belt move downwards due to the rotation, so we experience the monsoon. Okay, so again, the unpredictability, the only reason for unpredictability is the low pressure. Okay, it's because of the low pressure which keeps on changing. One more point to note here is that we all know that our source of water is majorly because of the rivers that are coming from the northern region, right? So whenever the monsoon is there, the water level of these river rises high and causes flood. Okay, and it sometimes lead to very heavy damage of life and property. So that is why monsoon is very unpredictable, but it is also very important because of our only way of irrigation. Okay, for our farmers, the only way of irrigation are monsoon. Okay, so as much as it causes the damage, it is very required to us. Next, our next season is the transition season, okay, which means retreating monsoon, which means the withdrawal of monsoon. Now it's time to say goodbye to monsoon. This is a sad part by the way, but anyhow, the withdrawal of monsoon in India is very slow. It's not very fast and quickly. The process is little bit slow. So from first week of September, these winds started moving towards downwards. Okay, reason being, now the pressure belt which was in India from June to September are now moving downwards. So I have drawn Tropic of Cancer, not equator. Okay, so the now this belt is moving downwards, which means our zone is also changing. Okay, which means pressure belt is no more in India. Now these winds are moving towards down, and basically now we understand that there is no pressure in no not low pressure in India. Okay, so this low pressure is converted. This low pressure is converted to now high pressure winds. Okay, so these high pressure winds are majorly moved outwards, which means that earlier it was sunny or little humidity in India. Now this will turn into a cold and dry season. Okay, so now this particular season is characterized by tropical changes. Tropical cyclones mean the changes in the cyclones that happens and which usually affects delta. Before going, they do a very heavy rain on the western coast, western western coastal areas. So which river we have in the coastal areas? Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. So deltas of these rivers are very affected because before going, these, because of the tropical cyclones, before going and before exchange of winds, these at once do a very heavy rainfall. Okay, so which affect coastal areas and the states like Odisha and West Bengal. Now let's understand how the rainfall is distributed in our country. So majorly in the northern region or this region, it's 60 it's 60 centimeter in the states like Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. Rajasthan is even more or less, not Rajasthan, let's include Gujarat here. Okay, so these particular areas are have comparatively less rainfall, which is like around 60 centimeter. The rainfall in our country is like almost equal, but not so equal. Unequal in the parts of, for example, in Deccan Plateau. We see here in the Deccan Plateau, the amount of rainfall is comparatively very less, and the snowfall majorly are restricted to the Himalayan regions only. Okay, so these are how distribution of rainfall works. As you can see in the map as well, it's in centimeters, like area which are if dark purple. For example, Meghalaya receive very heavy rainfall, which is 400 centimeter. Okay, and the areas which receive very less rainfalls are less, around 20 centimeters, which are mostly in the Deccan Plateau. Okay, next we'll understand monsoon as unifying bond. Monsoon is very important for our country. It is celebrated not just in terms of not just for the sake of doing it as festival. It is celebrated religiously because we pray for monsoon. Monsoon back in history has also been considered as an important deity. Okay, so in Indian landscape, the animals, plants, life, or entire agriculture and entire flora and fauna calendar depends upon monsoon. Okay, so the life of the people, including all the festivals, are seasonal based. In fact, in our country, our festivals are around the seasons. We celebrate seasons. That's how we create bond with nature. And in return, nature also helps us. For example, we know that Himalayas protect the cold waves that are coming from Central Asia to enter in our country. So that's how a seasonal pattern play an important role. Okay, also for the diversification, we are diverse. The habitat, the food, the culture is very very different, but somehow it bound us together. The force of nature, you can say, bound all the living beings together, and we celebrate it as festival. Okay. So that's about it in this video. I hope you have understand all the four major seasons of our country.